One Piece dominating the anime and the manga world, yet again, was not on my 2025 bingo card. But here we are, and it's getting crazier by the minute. People all over the internet are asking, is Eiichiro Oda actually the biggest trickster in the entire manga industry? Sounds wild, right? But some fans say there's a real chance we've all been strung along for more than 25 years. Let's break it down, from the never-ending treasure hunt to all the insane cultural references, plus how One Piece turned into a global phenomenon that might never end. Buckle up, because this story has way more twists than you might think. So first off, One Piece kicked off back in 1997, and yeah, that is forever ago, and that time a lot of us weren't even in school yet. Some of us weren't even born. You'd think that by now we'd have found the One Piece treasure, seen Luffy become the Pirate King, and called it a day. But nope, instead, we are still sailing the seas, diving into new arcs, meeting new villains, discovering random secrets about the Void Century, and basically never getting a clear view of the final treasure. A few folks say that's part of Oda's grand scam, like maybe he's just dragging this thing out because the fanbase keeps buying volumes, streaming episodes, and gobbling up merch like we are starving. Others argue that, hey, that's just how epic stories roll. If you're building a gigantic world filled with hundreds of characters, you can't just wrap that up in a few chapters, right? That's what Oda defenders say. They point to how each island has its own culture, laws, and hidden goodies, which only makes the series better. But there is a group of skeptics who are convinced Oda is playing us like a fiddle. In their eyes, the never-ending arcs aren't just a sign of good world building, they're a sign that Oda's found the perfect money-making machine. And speaking of money-making, you can't talk about One Piece without mentioning how it basically rules the manga sales charts. The numbers are bananas. People have even called it the highest selling manga of all time, even outselling some comics. Is that because the story is so amazing, or is it because we've been collecting these volumes for over 2 decades, waiting for a reveal that never comes? One side says it is proof that Oda is a mastermind and a genius. Another side says it's just marketing 101. Whichever camp you're in, you can't deny that One Piece is huge, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down. Then you've got the live action adaptation, which a lot of fans assumed would be awful because, let's face it, turning anime into live action rarely goes well. But guess what? It actually turned out pretty decent and got a bunch of new people into One Piece. Now, that is super surprising because we all expected a disaster. Instead, it's more success for Oda and his team. Some fans see this as a proof that Oda genuinely cares about the quality of every version of his story. Others see it as a further evidence that the brand is unstoppable, and that suits a scam narrative pretty nicely. After all, more eyes on One Piece means more money, more hype, and more reason to keep the manga alive forever. Now, let's talk about these controversies. One big drama that shook the community was when a voice actor for One Piece got caught up in a pretty troubling situation involving someone much younger. Fans went nuts on social media, asking if the One Piece team knew about this or if they were simply ignoring it. People started questioning if Oda had any say in who got hired. Of course, most likely, he's not the one making all the HR decisions, but still, it left a weird stain on the brand for a while. Some folks on Reddit were like, dude, if One Piece is such a massive property, how did they not do a deeper check on the people working for them? Others said, look, blame the individual, not the entire show or the creator. Either way, it sparked heated debates about how much power Oda actually holds versus how much is controlled by the studio and the publishers. Another angle people love to poke at is the way One Piece draws from a bunch of real-world cultures and religions. You've got Alabasta, which looks like ancient Egypt. Then you have Wano, which is heavily inspired by feudal Japan. Then you have the sun god Nika stuff, which people say might be Oda borrowing from different mythologies. Some fans think that is a sign of Oda's brilliance, his bringing together global influences to create a vibrant, universal world. Others claim it is borderline cultural appropriation, or at least questionable, like he's taking big concepts from different places to spice up his story without always giving proper credit. Fans on forums often compare Oda to other big creators who borrow from myth and history, like how Marvel uses Norse mythology for Thor, but a small group insists Oda might be actually cherry-picking from sacred text or legends to keep us invested. If that is true, it's one heck of a strategy because it definitely works. Fans spend hours analyzing each reference, turning over every clue, trying to figure out how it all ties together. Sometimes it feels like we are more focused on solving Oda's puzzle than we are on questioning whether that puzzle might be a scheme to keep us forever engaged. Speaking of puzzles, let's not forget the biggest one of them all, the actual treasure called the One Piece. Oda has said that it's a physical thing he's promised, that is not just a cheesy idea that the real treasure was friendship, but after all these years, the treasure remains hidden. There are huge subreddits where fans just throw theories at the wall, from it being a special device that reveals the truth of the Void Century, to it being a huge stash of gold hidden by Joy Boy centuries ago. Some folks even joke that Oda does not even know what it is yet, and is stalling until he figures out a satisfying reveal. It's kind of hilarious, but also terrifying if you've invested years of your life into this story. But let's consider Oda's personal workload, which is another major talking point. The guy is known for barely sleeping and working crazy hours. He's taken breaks for his health a few times, but then he comes back swinging. Most fans admire his dedication, yet people who think there is a big scam going on wonder if the publisher, Shueisha, is pushing him too hard because One Piece is an unstoppable gold mine. They suspect that as long as One Piece sells, Shueisha will do everything possible to keep it running, even if it means Oda might collapse from exhaustion one day. On Twitter, you'll see fans saying, "Please let Oda rest, or he deserves a longer break." Others respond with, "He wants to tell his story." Which side is right? Hard to say, but it shows how passionate the fanbase is about the man behind the manga. Now, about the fans themselves, some of them are borderline conspirational. There is a segment that believes One Piece mirrors real-world conspiracies, like how the world government suppresses information about the Void Century, or how the Celestial Dragons control everything from the shadows. A few folks say that is exactly how certain elites operate in our actual world. So Oda is basically dropping hints about real-life oppression. Others think that is a stretch and say it is just a compelling story about power and freedom, but you cannot deny that the show's focus on hidden history and the fight for truth resonates with a lot of people, especially in an age where some folks don't fully trust those in authority. People online argue that Oda is either deeply aware of real conspiracies or just using well-known tropes to build his narrative. In any case, fans get a kick out of drawing lines between One Piece lore and actual political or historical events. This constant speculation keeps the forums alive and well, which again might be exactly what Oda wants. If we're all busy theorizing, we're not complaining that the story won't end. Well, not as much. And let's address the fact that Oda keeps saying we are near the final saga. If you've been around One Piece news circles, you have heard it. It's in its last phase, or I plan to end it in few years. But time and time again, we get new arcs that go on for dozens or even hundreds of chapters. Some fans think Oda is simply bad at estimating how many chapters he needs. Others think it is a bit of a marketing gimmick to drum up excitement, like, "Hey guys, we are close to the finish line, you don't want to drop off now." Then boom, we get another twist and a new set of enemies. This cycle repeats so often that fans have turned it into a meme. It is both hilarious and frustrating, especially for people who want to see the end in their lifetime. But how do regular fans react to all this talk about a scam? Well, opinions vary. On Twitter, you'll see hardcore defenders saying, "Stop calling it a scam. Oda's poured his heart and soul into this masterpiece." Others reply with, "I love One Piece, but let's be real, this is taking forever and I feel like my wallet's getting emptier by the day." On YouTube and TikTok, you'll find creators making comedic skits about Luffy being an old man by the time he finds the treasure. Meanwhile, a small group is convinced that Oda has secretly ended the story in his head, but the powers that be won't let him finalize it for business reasons. And as crazy as that sounds, it shows how many theories swirl around this series. Whatever side you land on, no one can deny that One Piece is absolutely ginormous and massive. It's made its way into theme parks, brand collaborations, and countless fan gatherings worldwide. The scale is so huge that some people say One Piece is not just a story, it is a lifestyle, and that kind of emotional investment is exactly why fans are both fiercely loyal and incredibly suspicious. With so much money and heart on the line, it's natural to question if Oda's playing us to keep the hype rolling. Still, the guy's track record for foreshadowing is absolutely insane. He'll plant a tiny seed in chapter 200 and make it blow up in chapter 900. That's not easy if you're just making stuff up as you go. It shows careful planning, which counters the idea of a simple cash grab. Then again, maybe the plan from day one was to keep us chasing these breadcrumbs for as long as possible. If so, it is an impressive hustle. In the end, whether Oda is the biggest trickster in anime or the greatest long-form storyteller of our generation might just be in the eye of the beholder. Some fans are cool with One Piece going on indefinitely because they love these characters and cannot imagine saying goodbye. Others are itching to see what the One Piece actually is, worried that the final reveal might not live up to the hype. And if you are sure the hype is all part of a massive scheme to keep us glued until the very last page, whatever that may be and whenever that may be. So, is Eiichiro Oda a brilliant mastermind or a sneaky puppeteer? Could be both, could be neither. All I know is that One Piece continues to be the talk of the anime world, and as long as Oda drops new chapters, we are going to keep following Luffy's adventure. Maybe we'll look back one day and say, wow, that was the greatest story ever told. Or maybe we'll say, man, I can't believe we all got scammed. Either way, it is one heck of a ride and I can't pretend I'm not hooked. That is pretty much the scoop for now. If you've got theories on this, or if you think Oda has a big secret he's hiding, feel free to let it all out. Whether you think it's the biggest scam in anime history or you believe Oda is just a creative genius, it's hard to deny the impact One Piece has had on fans all over the globe. And since it doesn't look like we are getting an ending tomorrow, we might as well enjoy the journey while we can, even if part of us suspects we'll be taking that treasure for years to come.